And welcome back to another episode of Great Lakes Post Livestream. I'm Casey Campbell. Thank you for tuning in. We have a very special guest today from the NTT Data IndyCar Series. Why not get the driver that drives the NTT Data car for Chip Ganassi Racing, Felix Rosenqvist.
From the
how are you doing? Series. How's it going, man?
It's good. It's good. Season has started here, so we're all pumped up to keep racing. We had our first race a couple of weeks ago at Texas. Really good to be back in the car. So can't be better. A lot of waiting, and then now just happy to be back in the car.
Yeah. Let's talk about Texas. You ran pretty well, not the way you wanted it to end. Just talk about overall your day.
It actually started out, with way more confidence than last year on Texas. And last year I was a rookie in the IndyCar series, and specifically the ovals are really tricky when you haven't done ovals before. It takes quite a lot of time to get used to and learn all the tricks. And I felt that was way better this year. I just had a really good confidence on the ovals. The car was amazing. The car that Chip Ganassi Racing had provided for the weekend with, very limited preparation with the COVID situation. And it was just a different me out on track, I would say, on an oval. And unfortunately, I was lapping some cars in the end of the race, was running second, and had contact with the wall and had to end the race there with 10 laps to go. That was a real shame, but real good race until that, and I think it was just really promising for the future.
Yeah, I mean, talking about that, going through that, it just had to feel like to get back in the car after kind of an extended off season. Season was supposed to start in March and ended up starting the first week of June. But it had to feel good to get back in the car.
Oh yeah, I mean it's funny because we haven't been in the car for like 7 months or something, except from some testing we did earlier in the year. But we hadn't raced for a very long time since Laguna last year, and it puts you in a tricky spot because you don't know how it's going to feel to jump back in the car and how it's going to feel to race side to side with other people at 200 miles per hour, and but it all felt normal, like it was very natural. And I think it's the way you prepare yourself for it mentally, and you know it's going to be a very tough day and a tough challenge, and everyone in the team knows it, and somehow you just, like, when you're there, it just feels like you did it yesterday, which is, I was actually impressed with how the mind works that way, that you can prepare yourself for something and it just kind of works. And I think most of the drivers said the same. Pretty cool.
Yeah. When the next race is at Indianapolis on the road course, that's going to be really interesting because, IndyCar on the 4th of July in Indianapolis, and NASCAR's there too. So that's going to be really, really interesting. Of course, it's going to be on NBC all weekend, and, it's going to be a big moment for motorsports in Indy.
Yeah, definitely. I think the whole area here has been, waiting for some motorsport to get going. I know there's been a few like sprint car races here and there that's been starting up, but I think all the IndyCar fans have definitely, been itching to see some racing get going here. It feels good to be back at the Indy road course. Last year I had my first pole position there, which was pretty special, and starting in the month of May in a good way. Obviously did my first Indy 500 last year here, so it's starting to become a special place. Even I have only sort of hanged out here for a year now or two, so it's building up to become a special place for me, and it's cool when you can go racing where the team is based and where I'm based, and it's a perfect place to go for the next race, I'd say.
All right, we'll have more with Felix after this.
Is your money not sure what to do with itself? At Ally, help it save for the future with our smart savings tools. For all things money, you deserve an ally.
And we're back. Felix Rosenqvist joins us from the NTT Data IndyCar series. Well, Felix, of course, you are from Sweden. What is it like? What was it like growing up there as a kid, and how did you get into racing?
Yeah, Sweden is I'd say it's a good country to grow up in. You know, I still have all my sort of childhood friends there, and I had a good growing up. You know, it was a fantastic place to grow up. You know, a small city. My town actually, Värnamo, is like 30,000 people. Everyone kind of knows everyone, and it was good fun. And what led me into motorsport was actually skiing. That was a sport that I started to competing in when I was young, because my family had always competed in skiing. And then I had an interest for cars in general, not really racing, but just cars. And that, I think, somehow led into like an interest for racing, because skiing and racing, like alpine skiing, it is pretty similar, like the way you have to, carry speed through the corners and watching your line and all that. And I think it was just like inevitable that it would become racing at some point.
You've driven in all different types of cars, across Europe and here in the United States. Particularly, what was one of your favorite cars to drive there?
I think, like Formula 3 has always been like really close to my heart, because that's where I spent most of my career. That's where I have probably my biggest wins. That's where I learned most of the stuff. That's like looking back at your, school years almost. And then I think IndyCar, like the first time I tested an IndyCar with Ganassi in 16, sorry. It was just like, it was such a cool thing, because I never driven a car with that much horsepower and much downforce. So it was like an F3 on steroids, it was just like a mega thing. And yeah, I love IndyCar. Like that's why I'm here also, because I eventually, as you said, I tried a lot of things, and what really caught my eye was IndyCar. And it also, when I was a kid, I followed IndyCar, like when I was 9-10 years old. So yeah, it was definitely the one I always kind of looked to get into.
When you before IndyCar, you got a chance to race in with Formula E with the Mahindra racing team. What was that experience like in 16 and 17?
It was definitely schooling for me to be in Formula E, because that's where I learned how to work with a big team, how to provide feedback to my engineers. Like on a technical level, it was very complex and very demanding, and you definitely had to become like an engineer yourself to be competitive in Formula E, because you had so much to do on like a software level on the car. Pretty different to like changing roll bars and springs and camber angles. Like in Formula E, it was pretty much all about software stuff. That's where you find your performance. And I'm pretty big into like computers and stuff, so it really suited me well, and I had 2 really good years there. But I think as much as I liked it, there was just a hunger to get over to America and drive IndyCar.
Yeah. And you of course started in IndyCar in 2019 with Chip Ganassi Racing, and being paired up with none other than the Iceman and Scott Dixon as your teammate. What was that like when you drove IndyCars? And I know you two have had some battles. Of course, we can't forget the one that you had at Mid-Ohio last year.
Yeah, pairing up with Scott, he's one of the drivers I actually knew a little bit when I joined the series, so it felt kind of natural. He's a very natural guy as well. He's not it doesn't feel like you're with a superstar when you hang out with Scott. He's not a braggy, a cocky type. He's just a very down to earth, chilled out guy. He's obviously super fast. Whenever he's on track, he rarely does any mistakes. He's always on the pace. He's a very good benchmark to have, and that was very good for me last year. Whenever I was in the car, it was pretty easy to just compare yourself with Scott, and you knew how good of a job you've done. And if you're quicker than him, you know that you did a really good job. So I think it's even with Marcus joining the team now, I think we have a really good. We have 3 guys who are working very well together, and everyone is sort of pushing for the same goal. There's no big ego. I mean, obviously we're all big egos when we're on the track, but like off the track, everyone's working towards the same target, which has been, I think we're the strongest team right now like that.
Yeah. Coming up, we'll talk more about what these guys do in their off time. We'll be back.
What is this thing? Ain't no turn signal.
No traffic where this goes.
Ain't no plastic.
Nope, box steel frame too.
Woo-wee, that's pretty. No nav TV screen.
It's up there.
Ain't got no license plate.
Ain't street legal. That's the best part.
If you're looking for unmatched capability and industrial strength durability, it all starts here for under 16 grand.
Ain't no toy, huh?
Nope.
And we're back. Felix Rosenqvist joins us. So, you guys went bike riding. I think you and your fellow Swede Marcus Ericsson. I think Zach Veach was there too. How was that?
Yeah, it's weird. Like I've gone into bike riding a lot this break, and it's something I never really done before. I think just the boredom of the lockdown kind of, you're always searching for things to do, and being a racing driver, I think it's pretty easy to understand. I don't like to sit around all day and do nothing. I'm pretty like hyperactive, and bike riding was definitely like a escape from the apartment every now and then, because you're still allowed to go outside and cycle, and now it's just like become worse and worse in terms of like getting better gear, getting all the bike computer, uploading your results on the internet, and it's just gone out of hand really quickly. But it's good fun. Like it's a good way to socialize more than anything, and it's a really good workout. So we've been on it.
Yeah, I mean, I know you guys aren't racing this weekend, but I'm sure you're going to be cheering on your NASCAR teammates, Kurt Busch and Matt Kenseth at Talladega this weekend. Have you gotten a chance to talk to, Kurt and Matt about, anything, and how much do you pay attention to the NASCAR side of it?
I mean, I haven't actually met them yet, because it's just they're so busy and we're so busy, and they're in North Carolina, we're in Indy, so we never really get the chance to see each other. I think Kurt visited one of the races last year, but I didn't have a chance to meet him eye to eye. But I've been watching NASCAR quite a lot lately, actually. Not the last 2 rounds, but until then I watched every race, and I think that's been like a huge learning thing for me as well, just watching those guys, because I always say that they're the masters of ovals. That's all they do, and they do it so much. And if there's anyone you can learn from, that it's the NASCAR guys when it comes to tips and tricks and little details that they do really well on an oval. So that's been very helpful for me leading up to Texas to watch NASCAR actually.
Road course, coming up this in the next few weeks, as we mentioned earlier. What does this team kind of need to do to really get off on the right step after the disappointment after Texas?
Well, I think we have good cars. We had a good car in the GP last year, which is obviously a good baseline, even if things are different this year. We have a good platform to build on. Obviously, Scott won the race in Texas, which is a huge morale boost for the team. I think everyone's just hungry to keep that going, and we had some changes in the team for the better. On the staff side, we added quite a lot of engineers when Marcus came along on the team. We have 3 cars now instead of 2, so I think we're in a good shape, and you can feel there's a different energy going around in the team where everyone's kind of, they feel like this is the year, especially for the ovals, I say an Indy 500. So yeah, I think it will be good, man. I think we will look strong.
All right, Felix, I want to thank you for coming on the show today, and good luck in a few weeks at Indy.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And we'd like to thank all of you for the privilege of your time watching our Great Lakes Post live stream. I'm Casey Campbell. We'll see you next time.